the fuck?
What the fuck? What the fuck? I actually love that song now because of all of our what the fuckery we have to talk about today.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So welcome to another episode of What the Fuck Emergency, brought to you by the wonderful creators of Crime, Cocktails, and BS. That's us. Alex and Kaisa. That's us.
What's up?
What's up? Oh, guys, we had to come on and talk about this. It is the article sweeping the reality TV nation.
But is it?
Yes. No, I don't know. I mean, to us, it is.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, then where have you been for the past 24 hours? That we're talking about the Vanity Fair article that just came out about the Real Housewives. And it is called Inside the, oh my God, I'm on the last page of the article. That's so not helpful. Inside the Real Housewives Reckoning. That's rocking Bravo. That's a lot of alliteration and appeal.
It's a lot.
Appeal, the writer. Thanks, girl. That's a lot of alliteration.
A lot. So there was a lot packed into this expose.
Yes. I printed it out to read it.
There's a lot packed in, but there wasn't that much.
Yes,
substance.
I agree. For the 26 pages that I had to print out, and that, by the way, that's removing the images. If I printed out all the image pages, it would have been 42.
It's too long, first of all.
Don't they know that we're reality TV watchers?
I usually really like Vanity Fair articles. They're well written. But this one was kind of clumpy and not easy to read at all.
It felt as vapid and shallow as the show.
Yeah.
Or the franchise.
Right. Which kind of
makes
takes away its value. Or the
yeah,
effect
it makes
that
sense.
They were
and you're like,
for.
It takes away the value.
Well, it takes away,
yes,
they aren't making the impact that they wanted to, I think.
I think you're right. I completely agree. I think also with the topics that are covered in this, I feel like there has to be more coming. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I kind of hope so, because I feel like
I hope it's a couple
what they told us in this expose did not make me want to protest Bravo or fight for the Bravo people. The cast. If there's more coming that we don't know about, I would love to hear about it and know what's going on. Of course.
Agreed.
I don't know. It didn't set a fire within me to go picket for the cast of Bravo.
Yeah, especially I was really interested in it at first because I saw that Ebony K. Williams was being interviewed for it. Mm-hmm. And just a background on her, not only was she on the season 13 of Real Housewives of New York, but she's also a lawyer, a television host. She co-hosts this late night talk show called State of the Culture on Revolt TV. She's also co-hosted a bunch of radio shows. She's well known in the political sphere.
Mm-hmm. And she was the first Black cast member of New York.
Yeah. So
franchise.
When I saw that she was interviewed for this, I was like, okay, they're going to get down to the racism issues that came up. That part of it did season
stand out, I think, as something more serious than the drinking stuff. I think.
Yeah. I thought, they couldn't not talk about alcoholism when talking about Real Housewives. I did feel bad for Leah, who's also interviewed.
But she also, I have a stance where it's they're choosing to do this. Football players choose to play football. They get brain damage.
Well, that's what they said in the article too. She's like, athletes sign up for this. She knew what she was signing up for. I mean, she said that as well.
She relapsed before they even cast her. So she was coming in saying, I'm going to drink. And she told them that. So she was deciding that. I do get that they're pushing it on them, but you can say no as a cast member. You're not having drinks poured down your throat.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I do kind of see where she was coming from with wanting to downplay her relapse on the show. She didn't want that to be a focal point. However,
Yeah.
she's also was like, and she said that she stopped drinking after she actually got the job. So there, I don't know how much time there was in between her getting the job and then starting the show and or when she started drinking again.
Right.
And then I couldn't believe she was only getting paid $3,000 an episode.
I know. And it said in the article that, you know, the highest, I mean, we knew this, the highest paying cast members are
like $1
getting paid $1
million
million a season, but still, like,
I was like,
that's not enough for her.
yeah.
And the fact that they offered her 200, was it
250K
for
the
Ultimate
Girls
Girls
Trip.
Trips.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, here's the thing. Her argument was kind of like, they forced me into it by by offering me a ton of money. And it's like, there's a level of work I'll put up with for that paycheck. Like, there's a level of abuse I'll put up with at work for a certain paycheck.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it's like any other job. If it gets too much, quit.
Yeah, I think,
I don't know. I know there's an ethical like level that gets passed where they could step in and help her.
Yeah.
You know,
but even
take her
then,
off the show or something.
But even then, though, you have those key players who really are running the show. So you have Lisa Shannon, who works for Shed Media, who is one of the subsidiary production companies. So Shed Media does all of the Housewives franchises, or at least I was going to say Bravo, but New York and Salt Lake City, and then they do all the Ultimate Girls Trips. And I guess they're also going to be the subsidiary producer or production company for Legacy, which is going to come out at some point. And then you have Darren Ward and John Paparazzo, who are the New York co-showrunners. And then, of course, you have Andy Cohen, who's like actually a producer for all these shows. And
he's kind of set himself up so he's protected legally. He's not known as a producer anymore. He's just like separate from that, so he doesn't get any of the legal backlash, which is kind of smart of him.
Yeah, I also thought it was kind of creepy that he actually had referred to himself in a previous article with Anna Peel in 2021 in the New York Magazine, calling himself like their boss as well as their father. I was like,
I know, it's yucky. Yeah, that was kind of yucky.
Especially like the majority of these women have daddy issues. Like,
yeah,
not okay.
I like Andy Cohen a lot.
I do too.
I think he has a level of narcissism as well. It's probably like fun to have control over.
If you want to be on reality TV,
you
have to have a level of narcissism.
Absolutely.
There's no way. Like,
yeah. You're
wanting everyone to look at you no matter what it is. I mean, there's that one. So Bethany Frankel, Leah McSweeney, and Ebony K. Williams were all interviewed. Then you have a bunch of quotes from other housewives who didn't want to be named.
Because it was their dream job.
Yes, that was it. There was one housewife who was quoted but said it was like her dream job, so she didn't want anyone to know who she was. But they're all saying like, who am I without the show? Like,
and
what am I going to do?
Into a whorehouse, you're going to get fucked.
that line. I was like, of course.
I mean, that's kind of, I might not have as much empathy as you, where I have that stance. I'm like, you signed up for this. You signed up for this. Like, yes, I understand that there's manipulation and maybe lines that are crossed.
But you know what you're signing up for.
You're getting paid. You can leave.
It's like you were saying, it's how much are you willing to take? It's like when Bethany was talking about the what clause was that in the she was talking about the confidentiality clause and the waiver of privacy clause, sorry, that's the one in their contracts. And Bethany was like, I can handle this, I'm just a different breed. And then the same breath, she's like, I was a prostitute at the highest rate possible and was aware that there was a transaction that was happening and that I was going to benefit from it. It's like, okay, well, there you go.
Bethany saying what did she say? I ran the machine. I was the machine. It was so
I know.
absurd.
So absurd. Woman. What did you think about these hot sheets?
I think that's interesting. I mean, I'm not surprised. I've heard that they're feeding them lines and topics to talk about and like pushing
100%.
Like I knew that, but I don't know. I don't think that's like abusive. I think they're just trying to make good TV. Like the whole
Totally.
point of the show is drama. Like that's the point of the show.
However, Lisa
So
Shannon refers to it as a comedy. And
yeah,
I'm like,
okay.
where is it a
That part
comedy?
was kind of fucked up because it was
Yeah.
about the race thing and like
Hmm.
the racism stuff. And she was trying to say, like, laugh it off, even though it was like actual racist comments to her,
Yeah.
like, and microaggressions from everyone.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. Like,
I
they
think
should have.
one of my biggest takeaways from it was that the people who sell their souls the most are the
Mhm.
ones that are covered the most, like Ramona,
Yeah.
who is quoted as using the N-word, which I will not say.
I
I'm
can't
not gonna.
believe that. I mean,
She's quoted as saying it, and there's still like
and
nothing's
saying
come about it.
children have absent, or black children have
I
absent
have the
fathers.
quote.
Like there's so, and then there are so many black people here.
Yeah,
Like,
and that was during the
what
so
the
before
hell?
season 13 started, they had a virtual education session covering topics including Black women, microaggressions, lexicon, and missteps. Um,
That doesn't
and
surprise me. I knew she was
no, and like before it
bad.
happened, I mean, granted, no, not even granted. We know that Sonia, Ramona, and Luann are all out of touch with everything.
Yeah.
And like it's apparent when before they even start, Sonia's quoted as saying, as like commenting on the natural hair of the Black woman leading the discussion. Or like you said, Ramona was like, they were talking about not discussing racist tropes, like Black fathers are not present in their children's lives. And Ramona was quoted as being like, what if they don't have a father? Why can't I say that? Most of them don't. Like these generalizations,
Mm-hmm.
like they're so out of touch with reality, and then try to back it up with like, no, it's a statistic I read. And Ebony,
Yeah.
who's like you said, was the first Black woman on the Real Housewives of New York. It took them 13 years to actually get someone of a
I
different
know.
race on the show. Like,
Okay, here's
seriously.
the thing though. This article is pointing those things out, and the whole like point of the reckoning is to say
Mm.
Bravo's not doing anything, but they did cancel those people. They're not on the show anymore, so they did
Well,
step in and do something.
yes and no, though.
Okay.
So, yes, Ramona is no longer on Real Housewives of New York. However, she has been allowed to come back on Watch What Happens Live.
That's so true. Yeah.
She has been able to like go, she'll be at BravoCon, like she goes to things
Yeah,
that
they
are
should
still
have
a part
canceled
of the
her
show. They should have 100% just
completely.
gotten rid of her. But then that also kind of goes with Luann and Sonia.
Mm-hmm.
Like they also have done things, and yet they got a spinoff.
I
I
think there
believe,
should be like clauses, like the level of what
yeah,
you can't surpass, and then you
I
get kicked
agree.
off or canceled. And Bravo should make a statement about each
Yes,
person.
absolutely. I feel like they shouldn't be afraid to make these statements. Like
Uh-huh.
what are you worried about? And I agree with Ebony where she said that she felt like that virtual educational session was really just for Bravo to cover their ass.
Yeah.
To be like, well, we did this, so if anyone does anything, like that's on them because we told them not
And
to.
as soon as they heard that Vanity Fair was doing this
Mm-hmm.
article, they put out like a bunch of emails saying that they were going to do like alcohol training, like all this
Oh
other
yeah.
stuff. And that was like right after they had announced that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely just to cover their ass. Like that's the part about this that does piss me off about Bravo and these franchises, is that it seems like it is on them since they're not like speaking out about any of these issues.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they could really just like say it's a individual character thing.
Yeah.
Like the cast members are toxic, they're doing this, like kick them off then. Like I don't know. If they
No, I
did
completely agree with
something
you.
about it in that way or spoke about it, it would make it a little
Yeah.
better. Because I do think it is just toxic people on the shows. I don't think
Oh,
Bravo's really like
100%.
feeding them all of that. Yeah.
I think it's a mix of toxic people on the show who are desperate for attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then the puppet masters behind the scenes knowing that they can manipulate and take advantage of the situation and have the TV play out the way they want to. Like, I mean, you get insight into it where they're talking about Leah again and the ultimate girls trip, and she had just come off season 13 where her grandmother died. She had this breakdown. She gets on ultimate girls trip and everyone's asking her about her drinking and why aren't you
That was
drinking? Can't
bad.
you just drink? I felt so bad for her there. Like,
That
she's
was
trying
bad.
to
They were like,
protect
let's get
her
her drunk.
sobriety.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, and then
terrible.
she went to the showrunners being like, why are you having them ask me these questions? Why are you trying to pressure me? And they're like, we never would do that. Like, just go have fun. Like, don't worry about it. And then when she retaliated on the show, which they didn't air, but she retaliated saying like she wished that she had gone home when she knew her grandmother was sick, that she didn't feel pressured to stay on the show because she knew that there would be repercussions for that. Then producers had the girls in the confessionals like start hammering at her. But then Heather is the only one who said in her confessional that they wouldn't even have to say a word. I would be afraid to leave and go to my grandmother's funeral. I would not do it because she's afraid of what would happen. And of course, they're not going to air that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
True.
There's that pressure with any job
Yeah.
too. But like also I can see how like they had people texting her saying they wish they missed her drinking and stuff.
Wait,
And
Marisol
like
said that to
stuff was
her,
bad.
being like,
Yeah.
so excited to have
Well,
you. Wish
Marisol
you were
has
still drinking though.
drinks a lot. Anyway,
Cockies.
I remember watching that with Dane and we were both like, this, I don't feel comfortable watching this because they're like pressuring her to drink. But every scene was like, let's get her to drink. Like,
and then the
so
showrunners texting Leah afterwards being like, Lisa's pissed at you. Like, you're going to get it. Being like, why is she in trouble for being sober? Like, that doesn't make
that
sense.
part should have, that they should have stepped in on that, I think, because I don't know.
Also, the
or she could
fact
have left.
that
I don't know.
she went to get psychiatric help and she could only go for 8 days because that's how much the insurance would cover it.
Yeah, that's
bullshit. That
bullshit.
pissed me off.
Yeah,
I was like, Bravo
should cover a lot more than
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, the 1-800
that doctor guy.
1-800 Dr. Barry, who's also a chessboard maker and a gamer. Like, no, sir.
Yeah, no,
you don't count.
That's not.
Oh, you know what I did like from the article is that we got actual insight into the possibly not airing Ultimate Girls Trip.
I think it might air still.
They said it may air in 2024, which we are inching closer to every single day.
I know. I think they're probably waiting until this plays out to see like what they can actually do, what they're legally covered. Like, I'm sure there's legal shit now.
Well, especially because Caroline Manzo's lawyer also filed a complaint and say, what did he say?
Maybe they're cutting a bunch out. I don't know.
Well, so her attorney, Caroline Manzo's attorney, filed against like Bravo and everyone about what happened to her on the trip, which it's alleged that Brandi Glanville was kissing Caroline Manzo multiple times without her consent, without Caroline's consent. And now Brandi's attorney is sent Warner Brothers a letter saying that the entire incident was compromised and some flirtatious conduct and kissing was between the two, and that it was all mutual and consensual, and has called for them to release the footage. So I wonder if they're waiting to show the footage in court.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
That does make sense. I like the part where they were giving examples of other networks that have like drinking limits and like those rules put in place, but stuff still happens. Like sexual assault still happened, even though they had all those things in place. It happens when people are
sober. You don't need to have alcohol or drugs or anything involved. Sexual harassment and assault happens.
And like
too often.
That's what I kind of feel about all of the drama on these shows. Like, I don't necessarily think any of the things that the network is doing is to blame. But that's just me. I think they should have mental health coverage. I think all of that should be like, they could step in if someone's clearly like has an addiction problem,
issue,
spiraling, like things like that.
I mean, especially we're seeing even more so now, like Shannon getting her DUI. We've seen how many if Sutton actually does have a problem on Beverly Hills. We know Marisol drinks a lot. Like drinking is definitely a proponent of the show. However, if someone does have a problem, Bravo and the other networks that are a part of it, their parent network, should be able to jump in and be like, we'll support you through this and you'll have a job when you get out. Something like that. I think also having better health coverage. I think allowing people to take breaks from the show if they need to for mental health issues or health issues, I think.
I also wonder if they have done that with the people with drinking problems. Like they may have stepped in and asked, like, are you okay? And like
maybe, but I mean, there's those parts in the article that were definitely Sonia getting out of the car and vomiting. We've all seen how she drinks, and people have tried. I mean, Bethany tried having an actual intervention with her on camera, it failed. You've seen how many reunions where they tell her she drinks too much. Like they could step in at any time, but they're probably think like, oh, it's not our responsibility. We're just the employer.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I kind of hope, like you said, I hope that like some things come out of it, like mental health, like better mental health, like not some quack. I think having better health coverage would also be helpful.
And like, honestly, I watched the show to see shit shows like that happen. I like watching
We're
people
addicted
get
to the
wasted.
drama. Yeah.
I know that's something I need to look at myself for, but like, I don't know. That's part of it. And yes,
it is part of it.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I'm interested in seeing kind of the aftermath of this article. I'm sure Bethany's going to have plenty to say. Ramona's already come out.
My takeaway though is that it didn't really like, it's just a space filler of like ex cast members that have, I feel like it's all just retaliation.
Did you find it interesting that the only ones who were public or who allowed their names in were from the old Real Housewives of New York franchise?
Yeah, that are completely canceled. Yeah. Or like they're not going to be on TV again. Yeah. I also think Bethany could have paid for this to be published because the writer was even a Bravo fan. So I don't know.
We shall see.
I don't know, man.
Maybe it'll just be a little dud. Maybe it'll have a ripple effect. Who knows? But we will be here to track it all.
Follow it. I really hope they don't like ruin Bravo though.
I don't think Bravo can be ruined, honestly. Oh, and we have BravoCon coming up, so I'm sure.
I can't wait to see. Well, I wonder if they'll talk about it at all.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if it's going to come up at all. But time will tell.
I also wonder. Sorry, this just popped into my head. I wonder if now they're going to control what they're talking about.
Ooh.
Like any scandalous, like drinking stuff, or like that could feed this narrative.
That's a good question. That's something we need to keep an eye out for.
Like to protect themselves legally, maybe. I don't know. We don't know. What the fuck?
What the fuck? That's why we call it this. Well, any parting words?
I would love to learn more about this. And no, I love you guys. Thanks for listening.
Love you guys.
And please rate, review, and subscribe.
Yes. And follow us on Instagram. We have so much fun over there. Come on.
We do.
How many times do we have to tell you? Let's go.
Follow us
at Crime, Cocktails, and BS. This has been another installment of What the Fuck Emergency. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.